There we go! Back onto the plane in a super gusty, super windy day here in Vassiliki. The afternoon, in fact the whole day, has been on and off. Like mega wind, bit lighter, then it's super windy once again. So I figured the most logical thing I can come out here and film right now is a few little ideas and pointers on how to be mega overpowered in super gusty conditions and hopefully make it look kind of smooth. Here we go! Right, so I'm on a 5-meter spy and a 103 ignite in the choppy waters here just now in Vass. To be honest, I probably should be on a 4.2 or even smaller, looking at what everyone else is on and the feeling I've got right now. And I thought a few little pointers then to help you out, or even I could rephrase that, a few common things that people do that I don't think really help us. When it starts to become overpowered and gusty, what I see a lot of the time is people getting wider and wider hands and trying to muscle and power the sail. Now, the gusts are hitting me on and off here, but I'm still, where possible, trying to hold the boom fairly light and allow the power to come through my harness and then through me, rather than trying to muscle and power the sail around. Now, in order for that to work, you do need to set your harness lines correctly. And at this moment, refer you back to previous videos or previous comments I've made, which is that you cannot set your harness lines correct on the land. All of that 2-finger balancing or 5 hands, 5-meter sail, all that stuff, it gets you in the right ballpark, but it doesn't put you in exactly the right position on the park. As soon as you get out there, feel what's going on. Woohoo! Just as that gust hit me. Woo! Feel what's going on. And hopefully you can start to lighten that grip on the sail rather than hanging on for dear life. It's actually super quiet out here today, I think, because it's just so windy. So if you've got your harness lines set up correct on the land, then you should be able to move them on the boom. And by that I mean it's loose enough that I can unhook, give them a little wiggle and a shuffle and feel again whether that feels right or not. Because having them set correct makes a world of difference. The other things I've done to my sail and kit, just to help me out a little bit, is if you have got 2 eyelets on the back of the clew, I put it on the bottom one, just to open the leech a little bit more. That trailing edge of the sail spilled just a little bit of the wind. And of course, if you're overpowered, the obvious one is change sail, but if you're staying with the same sail, I've given it that little bit more downhaul. Again, just to soften that leech that bit more and make it a little bit more forgiving, which actually can help you if you're catapulting a lot. Put on a bit more downhaul. It makes the sail a bit softer, a little bit easier to sail. Woo, I'm so bad up. The other little things I'm doing less of than I should right now, considering how gusty and how windy it is reading that wind and reading those gusts. You can see the darker, ripplier patches coming at you. I can see it's a bit lighter, and then I can see something's changing in the water ahead of me. That indicator that it's either going to get windier or it's going to drop off a bit, so I need to be ready to brace myself. Now there's a couple little techniques I'm using a bit of just here. And, the biggest trick I think is my front hand is controlling a lot of the power. Pretty sure both of those guys are on 4 meters. My front hand is what's controlling a lot of the power and the depower. It's not just pulling the backhand for power. I'm actually ever so slightly bending the front arm just a little bit, using that harness line like a pivot or like a hinge to open the sail slightly and spill a little of that little bit of that wind. That allows me to get that little bit lower to the water and drive through the front foot rather than just squashing the board into the water. To be continued. I've hit the beach. It's so on and off. I may have heard the term Vassiliki about this sailing area. It's basically just coming off that big mountain behind us, so it's never going to be clean if it's offshore or bouncing off a 700 metre high mountain behind me. Now, other little tips of things that's going on here. I'm not windsurfing in a straight line. Good windsurfers don't go straight. You need to wiggle and play and meander through the gusts and the bumps of the water, the lulls coming through, and not just sit there and go in a straight line. But the steering to do that is coming through my feet, not the rig. Now, hopefully, the camera's staying nice and stable. Now, yes, that might be, it's a good camera. It's one of those Insta360 jobbies. It's pretty stable, I think. It gives you a good view, but it's more that I'm trying to keep the rig fairly steady rather than letting it bounce around the place. And the steering comes through either, check there's no one behind me, back foot pressure hard, woo, which either spins you out if you're on a freestyle board like this, or with a slightly longer fin, it will turn you upwind a bit. Front foot heel pressure pretty hard, which on this Ignite on a freestyle board, that works much more efficiently in turning that board upwind. Or of course a bit of pressure through those front toes, flattening the board up, speeding up hard. Let's use this speed to go around a little jibe. I think that will just about do for dealing with some gusts and lulls here today. If you're new to the channel, don't forget, whack that little subscribe button down at the bottom. Join me on loads of other videos on this channel. And you can even follow the links through to a Patreon account where I do, instead of a ride-along session like this, it's the walk-along sessions, which is basically me taking my dogs for a walk each morning and answering loads of the questions that you guys have that either don't quite fit into a video that I'm filming or take a little bit more explanation than just me blasting along on a board like this. I've got loads of stuff planned throughout summer 23. If you're here, come and join me up here in Vassiliki, and I'll see you on the water very soon. Later! Okay.
TikTok. Should have scheduled.